So I'm on my laptop. I am traveling again. I don't know if you guys were able to kind of keep up on my social medias and stuff. And I've been traveling. I was up here in Washington a while ago. That's when I made one of my biggest dollar gains. Was actually I was moving around on my laptop all week, and then on Friday I went from Washington back down to Texas, and I had Wi-Fi on the airplane, and we had a really I had my one of my best days on the market that day while I was in the air. So I just kind of want to let everybody know I'm out there traveling again. I'm gonna have to do some work around here because of what my computer program is doing. But for those who are tuning in and stuff, I'll kind of flip back around here. I would just want to show you the view that I have right now. So I have my own separate webcam set up, and what you can see is that just directly opposite of like where I'm looking at is that view with the nice water, and we got some pretty clouds up here in kind of the Seattle, Washington area. So let me kind of flip back here. We're going to be posting some links if anybody wants to see what the Twitter and the Instagram and Facebook and the website that we have, all that kind of stuff. The other thing is that because I'm having to kind of do some work around with this program right now, I don't have my drawing cursor. So we're going to do the best we can to kind of show some stuff. You might just have to kind of look for my mouse, and then I'll be drawing some straight lines. Now, that being said, and I'll be kind of bouncing back and forth, I've got another video that I think you all will like to see. Today, as far as this move right here, this one wasn't exactly expected. So for me, I wasn't really planning on this one dropping as much as it did drop. Yesterday I was thinking things were looking pretty cheery. Let me get my cursors here. Okay. I was thinking that here price, yeah, you guys should be able to see my cursor. Let me know if anything like that isn't, since I'm having to adapt. I was looking that originally over the last few days, and everything that these judgments that I'm making with the S&P and the markets, I've been making these predictions and kind of these guidelines based on what I've been seeing with overall tickers and the way that the other names have been moving. And really what they've been doing is, number one, on the daily chart, they've had the 8 over the 21. So they've had the fast moving average over the slow moving average, which means the immediate trend is still to the upside. And then all of them have also stayed above the daily 50. So again, the overall trend is to the upside. Now on the hourly, it's been a little bit choppy, a little messy, and what they've done is they've originally, like you can see here, back on the 16th or so, something around there. Let me see if I can, here you go, draw a little arrow like this. What we've been seeing is that right about there, the price was kind of underneath the hourly 50, or underneath a downtrending hourly 50, and what that caused was that price got rejected by the hourly 50 SMA. And then it kind of went down, maybe it did a double bottom of some sort, kind of chopping sideways. And ultimately, the way they resolved is just through time, through flagging, that's why I put that on the title today, that it turned resistance into support, and then the new uptrend was able to start. So that's why the other day, what I was looking at was here, about on the 19th into the 22nd, that price was getting back over the hourly 50, and it looked like everything was, peachy and wanted to keep going up from there. So far that hasn't held. Now I'm kind of having to back up a little bit and say, okay, well, what else are we going to be looking at for support? And kind of my bigger line in the sand is that I'm looking at the hourly 200 as support, as my overall support. Now, even though today is moving down significantly like this, and the internals, let me get the internals up here. Actually, nope, you guys won't be able to see that because I have to do what I'm doing. Anyway, the internals are showing that there is some heavy negative volume today, clearly. I mean, the market's been going down like this. But overall, we have yet to actually really do anything about the hourly 200. Like, we're right at it. And you can see that the last time we did that, here to the 12th, on June 12th, that price went right down to the hourly 200 and then bounced. Now, what we can see about that is on the 15-minute time frame. You see how price kind of kept chopping down a little bit, and then it finally bounced like that. This is kind of what we might be looking for. We're looking at stuff like that. Now, also take in mind that not only do we have price running back into the hourly 200, if I draw this line notice that where price is currently. Let me get that to close. So even though price is coming down significantly like that, look, it is at the top of the previous price congestion area. You know, something when it was at, like, you know, the 12th and the 13th, or actually the 15th. I guess there was a weekend right there. So we're looking at this and saying, one day doesn't make a trend. This is a significant pullback. Hopefully it'll help refresh some stuff. I was looking at some names, and even though the market's down significantly, a lot of names are actually kind of holding up all right. And then we'll be looking at this, and I'm not going to be saying that we're going to be rolling over. I'm not saying that we're going down yet, because we're just not there yet. Like, if anything, we have not been rejected by the underside of the hourly 50. And we have not been rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50. Today, we've only gone through these moving averages. We have not come back up and proven that we can't get back over, you know, gotten rejected by them. So keep that in mind. This is only the first time that price has gone through these moving averages, not gotten rejected by them. So until we see something different like that, I'm not going to be quantifying that yet as a downtrend or that the uptrend is over. So we'll kind of keep that in mind. Let's kind of keep going around the market. Now, probably since it's been a few minutes, we got more people on board, I wanted to kind of show some fun stuff. So let's see if I can get this to work. All right, not that one. How about this? There. So I think this is just kind of running on replay. So if you guys want to take a look at it, I'm up here in Washington. This is my dad and I have a plan. It's called the Mall, and it's a tail dragger. And I went out flying Monday afternoon, so I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of that, show you what I do. As I said, I'm on my laptop. I'm up here in kind of northern Seattle area, and let's see, does it replay? Well, let's see what it's going to do. Okay, I might have to try that one again at some point. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, and it's been fun. You know, I just want to show you guys that it's possible to be able to go around and there we go. Let's do that. So yeah, this is how I trade. You know, I'm up here on my laptop. I got my dual screens, and I got up here by flying. So I just want to kind of show you guys that it is possible if you want to make the kind of life, the trading life that you want possible. So beautiful, very beautiful area up here in Washington. All right, so let's kind of get back to the normal stuff, huh? There. All right, so let's see what's going on with the market and what we're doing. Oh, Scott, yeah. I always, you know, the more I talk about where I'm at and where I'm going, more and more people tell me like they actually in certain areas. So it's pretty fun. It's very neat. All right, let's kind of go through the list of things that I'm looking at. We'll do IWM, kind of see what's happening with that one. Got to keep zooming in on this one. Now, the 8 is still over the 21 on the hourly or on the daily chart, and we are still over the daily 50. So I'm looking at that kind of stuff and saying, hey, you know, for as much as today is down like this, we're not rolling over completely yet. I think some of the other examples that I've been seeing, if we look at PZZA, PZZA, there we go. And you can see that there's going to be some messiness. You know, if you look here on the hourly chart, and if you look at this just as examples, you see how between the daily chart, notice how the 8 has stayed over the 21 the entire time, you know, back here, going all the way back to, you know, end of May into middle of June. The 8 has stayed over the 21, and then you can see that price has generally been moving up, and the daily 50 is still in an uptrend. Now, in the hourly chart, price is punctured and pierced through the hourly 200, which is the salmon colored line, a few times. You know, you can see that, but each time it's come right back up. It's kind of pierced through, come back up, pierced through, come back up. And in no time, you know, if we really kind of zoom in on any of this, nowhere in here on the hourly chart has price actually gotten rejected by the underside of the hourly 50, and the hourly 50 is the magenta color line. So you see here that even though price kind of came through the through the hourly 50 or hourly 200, popped back up, came through the hourly 200, came back up, came through the hourly 200, came back up. And so all the while, PZZA is still in an uptrend, and we're right back down here at the hourly 200. So I'm trying to take some of these examples of some of these other names that we've seen and said, hey, What have they done already? Let me go over to, I think, FTNT is another one. Maybe you look here. Is in through here with the daily chart, same thing with FTNT, the 8 is still over the 21, and price is still above the daily 50. And what we're looking at here through on the hourly chart, same kind of deal. We've pushed through the hourly 200 a little bit further, but we're trying to see if we kind of can find that level. You know, we can draw a line here. We're kind of looking at there's some level support right there, and all of that's looking pretty good. All right, let me get one more thing kind of set up here. Yeah, I'm taxing my computer quite a bit, so wanted to, I was trying to upgrade my laptop here. Okay, and then let's see another one. So VG, looking kind of in the tech space again. Now here are just some examples of how some of these are a little bit messy, but so far they're all still generally holding up. Notice how on the daily chart the 8 is still over the 21. Notice how price is still over the daily 50, and the daily 50 is still in an uptrend. And then if you look here on the hourly chart, we're really just trying to get out of our chop zone. This is what we're trying to figure out, is when can this thing keep kind of moving up? You know, how is this thing going to move up and work? So far the hourly 50 is trending up, and it's the overall trend is the hourly 200. Let's kind of go around and look at some of the other ones. How about SWCH? And then yeah, you guys let me know. Show me some tickers, ask me some questions. You know, what are we looking at particularly? You know, because I don't get to see everything, and I want to make sure that everybody is finding out the ones that they like. And here on the daily chart for Switch, you can see same thing. 8 is over the 21. Price is over the daily 50. So as far as that stuff goes, it's all looking pretty good. And then on the hourly chart, we still have an uptrending hourly 50. And the hourly 200 is flat, but still kind of trending up, and price is over these moving averages. So those are the things that we're going to be looking at and saying, hey, whenever this this pullback and downtrend is finished, then hopefully we can kind of resume the trend. Another one that we're kind of looking at, that I've been looking at, is SRNE. And I think, yeah, this one was a little bit of what we call the honey badger. So it's been doing well and going up despite the market going down today. And here's a good example of what I was trying to show. Kind of get this zoomed in. Show and display about the hourly time frame, and then we actually get the daily chart. So notice on the daily, we've got the 8 over the 21. All of that is still on an uptrend. And look at the hourly chart. On the hourly, we still had the 8 over the 21 as well. Then where did price bounce? It bounced right here, right as price came into the hourly 50 and the hourly 200. And so these are the overall things that I'm looking at. Unfortunately, it's something like this that I have a position in that is, you know, keeping my account mostly afloat, even though the market is really, really nosediving. In fact, it is going down today right now. I'm looking at my other one. We've got about 18-to-1 negative order flow, so that is significant for today. Another one, MRNA. I think that one was kind of bucking the trend today, or at least holding up pretty well. Now, MRNA and SRNE are going to be kind of in the same areas. You know, both of them are working on the therapeutics, working for the coronavirus thing and trying to find a cure and all that. But notice the same thing, MRNA. 8 over the 21, price coming into the daily 50. And then on the hourly chart, up until about yesterday, the 8 was also over the 21, but price is right at the hourly 50 and the hourly 200. And so far, you know, we're really just kind of holding between a range. You guys can see I have my alerts here. I have an alert if it goes up. I have an alert if it goes down, because I want to see if this thing finally breaks out. Because if it breaks out to the upside, I want to be notified so that I can hop on. And if it breaks out to the downside, well, I just want to know so I can kind of take it off my mental radar. All right, yeah, so Lucas, let's take a look at AMD. And let's go over here. Now, AMD, I've been looking at this thing and I was like, hey, I really like what this hourly chart, oh, that's the wrong one. I was really liking what this daily chart was looking like. You know, up until basically now, this was looking pretty good. It was looking pretty good with the 8 over 21. Price coming right into the daily 50. Looked like that was going to keep moving up. And then I've been talking to a lot of our subscribers about this today and saying, hey, so far it looks like this thing wants to keep going. Originally back here at about on the 17th of June, couldn't really do it because it was kind of coming up into the underside of the hourly 50, and then it finally got over, and just the other day on the 23rd, 22nd, it finally got on top of the hourly 50 and got on top of the 15-minute 50 with the 15-minute 200. All of that looked pretty good. And so I was saying, yeah, looks all right. Let's kind of get into it. Let's see if this thing's going to work out. Now, unfortunately, I think this one is getting highly affected by the market, clearly. So, if you're in it, might want to step aside for now and just wait until it turns back up. Because one of the things that I talk about oftentimes is if price or if the ticker doesn't do what we want it to do, then it can do anything else. And if price isn't going up and respecting the moving averages that we want for price to keep going up, well, then it has the opportunity to do anything else, and that means it could actually go back to the downside. And then let's see, Tesla, haven't looked at that one today. Big picture, I've been telling people, don't bet against Tesla. But boy, this thing is pretty darn extended. Pretty extended. And it looks like just barely yesterday, if you look here on the 15-minute time frame for yesterday, price did just close at the 15-minute 50, and notice we did have the Moxie indicator below 0. And then today, this thing is just rolling right off of the hourly 50 and coming on down. We actually got our Moxie price trigger to the downside on the hourly chart, so that was looking pretty good. But again, one day doesn't make a trend, and this thing is still in an uptrend. The hourly 200 is still in an uptrend. The hourly 50 is still in an uptrend. And on the daily chart, the 8 is still over the 21, and it's pretty spread. So everything is still in an uptrend. We just got to kind of look at these intraday moves and say, okay, well, at some point this is considered a pullback. Let's find the bottom. And then you can go back in and look for that turn to the upside. So we'll kind of take a look at that. Oh, Thomas, what do I think about UVXY or SPXU? Well, I generally feel like probably now is not exactly the time to get into them, because they probably had I kind of think that this might have already been the move, but we don't know that yet. As I said, one day doesn't necessarily make a trend, and I don't know how far this thing's going to go, but I would be cautious about trying to say, okay, is this thing going to work out? I'd like to see more confirmation if the market's actually going to keep rolling over and going down. One of those confirmations I'd like to see is price going to find the 15-minute 50 as support. So for UVXY, is price going to kind of pull back or go sideways and use the 15-minute 50 as support, and vice versa with the S&P. I'm looking at my on my other chart here. For that, is price going to eventually bounce and going to get rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50? If it doesn't, let me kind of show you. Let me show you the SPY again, because SPXU, it's the inverse. And if we look here, the previous time, notice that on the 11th and the 12th, and then finally on the 15th, that price was underneath the 15-minute 50, but it never actually got rejected by it. You see how after a little bit of time, price actually came back up and got on top of the 15-minute 50? And so that was telling me that this downtrend wasn't really a downtrend. It was just a really big pullback. And that is something that I want to be cognizant of right now. And so until I can see price actually, start getting rejected by these moving averages, then there's no continuation. Let me show you. Hopefully I'm not hammering on this too much, but let me show you IWM as an example of that. And we'll look at the last here. If I zoom in right here, and if we look at, say, June 9th and then June 10th, do you guys see how price came up here and got underneath the 15-minute 50? And then also on the 10th, it continued to stay underneath a downtrending 15-minute 50. That's what I'm talking about. If this thing is actually going to be more legit and really start going down, then this is what we're looking for. This is the kind of thing that we need to be aware of and say, oh, this is a problem, because now the head of the snake basically is getting pushed down by this moving average. And for now, if we kind of just look at, say, the market, all we have is one day. We've got actually just a few hours today. The price is underneath the 15-minute 50. We have not bounced up, and we have not gotten rejected, and we are not getting guided down by the 15-minute 50. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. All right, so a lot of kind of talking there. I know some new people have been showing up, so I want to kind of go around and kind of show people what's up and what I'm doing. I'm up here in northern, just north of Seattle in Washington area, and I just kind of flipped on the webcam that is looking out the window of my view for the day. So I'm on my laptop, I got my second screen, and this is it. I'm able to trade on the road, and it's pretty fun. I enjoy being able to have that flexibility. You know, a couple weeks ago I was actually trading while I was on one of the commercial airlines flying from Washington to Texas. And so yeah, this is kind of the nice pretty day that we have here. So I'll bring this back, and I think, let me see if I can get this one to work. There we go. So this is me kind of flying around the other day. Again, up in Washington, I was taking an airplane, flew up north, and then I get to look over this pretty water up here. So just kind of want to let everybody know that this is what I'm able to do, and if you want to be able to trade on the road and make money this way, it's possible. And I just hopefully I'm living proof or inspiration for anybody else who's looking to do something like that. All right, so let's see where we go. We got a few more minutes. We can kind of go through the markets, see what's happening. AME. So Amtech. Now generally you can see price is still above the daily 50. So the overall trend so far, you know, I'm not going to be saying that we need to short something like this. We're just not there yet. If anything, we're still in chop, we're still flagging. AME is another good example. We're basically right at the daily 50. And actually, if you notice, if I drew a line for AME right here, there is a trend line, support trend line at about almost, call it $85. You can see that there is a previous price top congestion area, and then we're coming up on a double bottom right there at about $85 also. And we're also coming into the daily 50. So until something like this really starts to pan out, I wouldn't be looking to short something like AME. If anything, I'd kind of keep an eye to say, is this drawdown here actually a good opportunity to get in? So let's kind of keep an eye out for that. Let's take a look at Amazon, see what's happening there. Yeah, Amazon just is a beast. You know, there's not too much to worry about with that one. Just you want to make sure that you pair in, pull in your profits, make sure you're taking in some cash, because mostly what I'm seeing here on Amazon is on the daily chart, you're kind of at the outer ranges. Notice that price is at the outer edges of the third ATR. So it's pretty far out there. It's pretty far outside of its typical range. And then notice that it's a little hard to see here, but price is also off the 8. So price is very extended on the daily chart. And on the hourly chart, you know, we have price also outside of the third ATR, and then we also have price fairly high above the hourly 50. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a pullback, maybe some sort more sideways movement, something like that. But overall, Amazon is an uptrend. Just look for dips to buy, kind of like back here on the 12th. And then when you get too high, you know, outside of these third ATRs and too far away from moving averages, don't be surprised if price wants to come back down and pull in. All right, so guys, remember, if you want to hit subscribe and to hit the alert button, that way you get a notification when we come on and do these kind of things. That way you can kind of see what's going on with the market. And then other than that, yeah, great for saying hi, checking in, seeing what's going on. Let's kind of take a look at gold. This is one that has been doing well. It finally broke out. Right there, you guys see that I had that green line. That green line was the level that we needed to see if price could finally break out over. And right there, it did. So on the 19th, broke out, popped up. Now, just like what I was saying with Amazon, this isn't exactly a great place to buy. It is in an uptrend, it's doing fine. But if you notice on the hourly chart, where is it? It's outside of the third ATR. It's pretty high up there. And also look at the distance between price and the hourly 50. It's pretty up there. So don't initiate a buy up here, because you can also see on the daily chart, notice that there's a gap between price and the 8 EMA. So, off the 8, back to the 8. It's pretty up there, pretty unsupported. Wait for it to come back down to find that good opportunity to buy. Now, if you're already in this, if you're in it from a good spot, fine. Don't worry about it, because this thing's in an uptrend. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, but it's going to be trending up. And so something like this, you're just trying to figure out, well, where is a better place to enter? And I think you'll be looking for something like that in the future as far as just a little bit of a pullback. All right, and then let me kind of see if there's any last one that I want to be talking about and see what it's going on with. MAXR, let's kind of take a look at some of the space stuff, because these are looking pretty good. So Space, which is Virgin Galactic, they actually got some sort of deal to work with NASA, and so they had huge volume, did pretty well on that. Notice on the daily chart, 8 over the 21, price bounced off the 21. I mean, all of that looks pretty good. And then for those of you who were here the whole half hour, when I was initially talking about the market, I said what we've seen from that original pullback, after the FOMC meeting, was that price kind of originally got rejected by the hourly 50. And then what it did is it kind of pulled back a little bit and went sideways to where it now turned the hourly 50 from resistance into support. And so that's what we're now looking at. Notice how price just went sideways long enough to turn that hourly 50 into support. And so far, as long as that can continue maintaining itself, then we're good and it's going to work out just fine. So I like MaxR and all that stuff. Oh, Eric, what's going on with GoGo? Did that thing just roll over? Pay respects to her. Well, it's not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. I mean, so far it's not really doing much. I mean, look at the daily chart. You got the 8 still over the 21, and generally price has been holding the daily 21. It's not too bad. And on the hourly chart, just like MaxR, notice that the price originally had the downtrending hourly 50 as resistance, and then it's trying to turn it into support. It hasn't quite done it yet. You can see if we look at real close here on the hourly and the 15, that yesterday it did get over the hourly 50. It got over the 15-minute 50 and the 15-minute 200, but it just couldn't quite hold it. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. Now, would I be in it right now? I'd probably get out right now because I'd like to see something shape up, kind of like I said about 5 minutes ago. If price doesn't do what you want it to do, then it can do anything else. And until price can actually stay over these moving averages and start going where you want it to go, then the fact that it's underneath the moving averages, it can keep going down if it wants. But overall, price is still following also the hourly 200. So not terrible. It's just not going anywhere yet, and that's what I want to see. Yeah, okay, guys. So that's pretty much it. Brings me to up here. I'm on a different time zone, 9 o'clock a.m. And yeah, I'll just kind of leave you with this nice little visual of where I am right now. Good, nice, lovely clouds. We're looking over some water, and a kind of a nice summer day here in Washington. So thanks again for everybody for joining. I will see if I can get this computer situation fixed. And until then, I will see you next week. And let's see if this dip that we're experiencing right now is actually a buyable opportunity. Go see if everything kind of holds up and springs back at some point. So then, take care, everyone. Thanks again, and I will see you later.